I think we are live across all stations. I got my PJ pants on tonight, doing this meditation right. We're getting started at 6:30. So if you are jumping on right now and you wanted to meditate with us tonight, you've got about 10 minutes. And I recommend grabbing a few things that might make your life a little bit more comfortable tonight. So you might grab a meditation blanket or any kind of blanket that you have. You might grab a pillow or some kind of meditation cushion. And if you don't have either of those, don't worry, you'll be fine without them. Really, all that you need is to bring yourself something comfortable. All right, hello friends. It is 6:23. We've got a little bit of time before we're getting started at 6:30. This is a guided meditation. So if you're just joining us and this is something that you might want to commit a little bit of time to, we're going to be meditating from 6:30 to 7:30. And if you wanted just a few things that might make this process a little bit more comfortable and at ease, would be to grab some kind of, hey, wonderful to see the folks who are joining in. You might grab a meditation cushion. You might grab a blanket. These are a couple of things that through the course of the practice might come in handy. Ways that are making the body more comfortable, which is key to deepening the state of meditation. And if you don't have those, don't worry about it. You could use a pillow or just a blanket off of your bed. Whatever you have handy would work just fine. And we'll be getting started in about 6 minutes. I hope everybody had a lovely weekend. Today was so gorgeous. Made it a little bit easier to get outside, get a little sunshine. We know we're fully in the state of spring right now, but it's still nice and sunny outside. Hello to the folks who are just joining in. You're signing on to or joining into a guided meditation practice for the evening. So I hope you're sticking around, even if you can only stay for part of. Basically, we'll be going through at least 3 different guided meditations this evening. And the ones that we're working on tonight are all working through energetic spaces in the body. So if you're familiar with the chakra system, we're not working through all of them tonight, but the 2 that we're working on, you might think of it as a way of kind of spring cleaning in the body in terms of like what we might say energetically speaking. And I hope that what you'll experience moving out of the meditation will be a softness, a lightness, a feeling of being more receptive on both a physical and an energetic level. And we'll be starting in just about 4 minutes. No, there doesn't have to be a whole lot of preparation time. So you just need to go and grab some comfy clothes, come right back, because we'll be getting started right at 6:30. No. Did you have it? Since we've been home, it was in that little, it was in the backpack.
Oh, I definitely had it. Yeah. Oh, here's
Phone missing.
okay.
Phone found. We're getting started in just about 3 minutes. So if you are joining me for the first time tonight on this somatic meditation journey, we've been doing this over the past couple of weeks. That doesn't mean that you do not have the place to be able to jump in right now. The meditations that we've done in the past weeks are helpful in terms of building a vocabulary or a sensitivity in the body. So feel free to go back and utilize some of the ones that we've done in the past. They're available on Yoga Factory's YouTube and Facebook Live. You might also find them on my Facebook Live as well, which is under Elizabeth Scollin. So even if you jump in tonight and this is the first time that you're trying these styles of meditation, you're going to be fine. You're not going to miss out on being able to experience things tonight, but I would recommend going back and trying those meditations. There's basically kind of a foreground, 2 or 3 styles or types of meditation that we'll touch on very, very briefly tonight, and then kind of build on that vocabulary. But if you like them or you enjoy your experience tonight, I do recommend going back and trying those 2 basic styles of meditation, the earlier styles that we've tried on these Sunday nights at 6:30. So you have those for your use at any time that you'd like. And then tonight, you take the experience that you have and know that you are welcome to try these meditations on a regular basis. And really, that's what it takes to build a regular meditation practice, is just take 2 or 3 different variations of these guided meditations, and you can either listen to and practice them at home on your own using what I've led, or you can do it for yourself. You're welcome to kind of lead yourself through a guided version of a meditation. But the key to having a meditation practice is regularity. So I recommend, I know for myself, I try to meditate at least once a day, and you can dedicate anything from 10 minutes up to an hour, but there's no wrong amount of time. So excuse me, even if you only have 5 minutes, it's plenty of time to start to build your meditation practice. All right, so welcome everybody. It is 6:30. We're going to get ready and get started. So happy to have you all here. So there's two ways that we'll meditate tonight, and we're going to start laying down on our backs. Hello, Marcia. How are you? We're going to start laying down on our back, and this is kind of the home base in this style of meditation, the meditation that is called a somatic practice, and it's called constructive rest pose. So if you have a yoga strap or a towel or something, some folks find this helpful. You're going to come down onto your back with the soles of the feet on the floor. And you're going to walk your feet just kind of close enough that your knees line up with your ankles, or that your ankles line up with your knees, rather. And you're going to walk your feet out, letting your knees drop in towards the center. Now, if you feel like you have to do a whole lot of work to keep your legs like this, I recommend grabbing something that you can tie your legs together with. Again, it's not a necessity, but it is an option. And then the other option would be to put a blanket underneath of the back of your pelvis. So you might take this blanket that you have, whatever it is, and unfold it a little bit just to give yourself slightly more cushioning underneath of the back of the pelvis. In general, we want to be fairly connected to the floor, to the earth, but having a little bit of cushioning so that there's no sacral pain, so that there's no pain through the back of the pelvis or the lower back is always a good idea. So making those adjustments to your body so that you feel comfortable and supported. And we're going to start with our hands actually resting on our belly. So your elbows are coming to rest on the floor, and the hands are coming to rest on the abdomen, one hand over top of the other. Again, remember that those feet walk out slightly away from center so that the knees can knock in towards the center. Head should be facing directly up towards the sky, and you can let your eyes close. And when you let your eyes close, this is a signal to your body that you can really begin to relinquish any patterns of holding or the need to control what's happening in your physical body. And instead, we become this very observant watcher of what's happening. So start by taking a nice, slow, deep breath in, really kind of filling up from the front to the back to the sides of the body. Giving yourself an open mouth exhale. And as you exhale out through your mouth, letting the back of your body soften down into connection with the earth, that there's a sense of complete release and also opening, that you're letting yourself become more receptive, the back of the body more porous against its contact with the earth. The first meditation in our somatic practice in general is a 10 points practice, which is moving through the body, utilizing breath and awareness to begin to release. We're going to do this one relatively quickly tonight because it's one that we've been visiting in the past couple weeks of the practice. But know that you are welcome to take as much time and detail moving through the body if you ever so desire. In fact, I highly recommend, if this is the first time that you're visiting this style of meditation, that you start by kind of taking a step back after tonight and moving slowly through the body so that you build up a sensitivity, a subtle awareness, and you'll start to feel this very awake and alive landscape of what's happening, not just on the surface of the body, but deeply inside. So start by bringing your awareness to your feet. And the idea is that we bring our breath in through each of our body parts. And we bring with that breath a sense of heightening our awareness, almost like you were turning up the volume on the physical experience, the sensation that was happening in any given body part, in the region of the body that we're visiting. And rather than shying away from any discomfort or tension or blockage, we want to start to pour ourselves more fully into that experience. So start by bringing your awareness into your feet, and you might start by kind of breathing in through your big toe, breathing in through your second toe, breathing in through your middle toe, your fourth toe, and your pinky toe. So we're breathing in through all 5 of the toes. And as you breathe into each of those parts of your body, noticing that each of them has a different experience, a different outlook, a different set of sensations. And it might be slightly different resonation or vibration. There's no right or wrong. You're just going to pay attention to it. dropping into the center of that experience. So rather than looking at it from the outside, especially when you find yourself bumping up against tension or pain or blockage, you're letting yourself fall into the center of it. So instead of shying away from discomfort or something outside of our surface sensation, you're allowing yourself to be fully invested in it. So now we're breathing into all 5 of each of the toes on both sides, the right and the left of the body, noticing and experiencing the sensation, the pain, the blockage, seeing if you can pour your awareness inside of it, and from your bringing full attention to, we start to begin to be able to unwind. And the release starts to happen down through the bottom of the foot, that there's a sense of being more porous, and we're releasing the tension through the bottom of the feet and into the floor. Breathing up through the balls of the feet, the arch of the foot, the heel of the foot. So the whole bottom of your foot you're breathing into and releasing that tension, completely letting it go. Breathing into the top of your foot, into your ankle. Breathing up to the back of your leg, into your shin bones. Breathing up to your knees, the backs of your knees. All of that tension through the bottom half of your leg, that we're not losing any part that we've already breathed through. In fact, we stay acutely aware of those places. We're just highlighting the next place as you release the tension down through the foot, like sand draining through a sieve and into the mat, into the floor, into the earth beneath you. Breathing up to your kneecaps. So as we move through the upper half of the leg, the next release point is through the buttocks into the floor. So you're breathing up through your thigh bones and through the backs of your thighs. You're breathing into the meat of your buttocks and wrapping around the front of your body. So you're starting to feel into the sexual organs, into the anus, into the bones of the pelvis, and everything that's contained in the pelvic arena. So there's some organs that are in that arena that we are starting to pay attention to with our breath, that there's a deeper sense of awareness. And when we find ourselves moving into the organs, we might find ourselves a little less capable of having a strong or acute sense of sensation. So doing the best that you can to pour your awareness there, and maybe noticing that there's a density or a sense of feeling blocked in some places. The best of your ability, falling into that and completely relaxing and releasing through the back of your buttocks and into the floor. The next point of release is going to be through the spot that corresponds with your solar plexus. So if you come to the spot where the 2 sides of your ribs kind of curl up and connect, if you bring yourself to the back of your body, it correlates with the spot where the base of your rib cage begins. And you're going to breathe into the bottom part of your rib cage, into your abdomen. You're breathing into the organs that are contained here. So coming into your kidney and your liver, some of the digestive organs. Noticing into where you have habits and patterns of holding. We don't have to create any stories. We simply pour ourselves into those spaces, knowing that there's always a continuous release. So all of the parts that we've already breathed up through, we're noticing, we're continuing to pay attention to. And it might be kind of in the peripheral, but there's a sense of still continuing to unhinge or release those places. Our next awareness comes to the spots in the shoulder blades, the 2 shoulder blades, tips of our wings that are placed on the mat or on the floor beneath us. Breathing into the space between them, all of the fascia, the muscles that help to contract the shoulder blades together and down the back, our postural muscles. Breathing up across the chest, the breastbone, the lungs and the heart, the upper part of the ribs, the sides of the ribs, and the underneath of your armpits. So breathing up for the whole lower half of the body up to the chest. Our next points of contact are the elbows on the floor. So breathing up the arms across the collarbones, then the upper arm, the elbows, the lower arm, the hands, the fingertips. Letting that patterns of holding and tension and pain, those residual places of trauma, let them go down through your elbows and into the floor. Breathing up the whole lower half of the body. Let's even breathe up through the neck. So breathing up the front of the throat, the cervical spine, and all of the muscles that help to keep the neck upright. Everything but your head completely relaxed and released. Finally, our last point of contact on the floor, the back of the skull on the mat or on the floor. So breathing up into your head, all of the bones in your skull, the mask of the face, your forehead, your eyeballs, and your cheekbones, your nose. Breathing into the inside of your mouth so that your teeth, your tongues, and your gums are completely relaxed down the back of your throat. Breathing into your lips, your ears, your forehead. Breathing into your brain. Breathing into the whole of the head and releasing the tension that you experience, that you feel. There's this sense of curiosity that continues as we always and continuously unravel and unravel and unravel, that it never stops, that there's always this unraveling of tension that's happening. Letting it go down through the back of the head, the shoulders, the elbows, the sits bones, and the feet down into the floor. So you're breathing into your whole body now, whole body filled with breath, as if you were made of breath. And just taking a moment to really feel into the landscape of your body, this whole body breath, every cell, every pore, filled with your awareness and a curiosity that you are completely awake and alive and at the same time completely relaxed. And then as you're releasing through the back of the body, we start to feel that porosity of the back of the body open us up, and that there's this energetic field that drops us down into connection with the earth. So at the same time that the back of the body is dropping down into the earth, we're breathing into the whole body on our inhales so that we're filling up, that we are completely embodied, and that we're not losing that embodiment as the back of the body opens up and that porosity kind of sends our energetic field both down and out, down and out. So we feel completely alive and awake and connected to our physical body. And at the same time, we feel the way in which our body is more in contact with and communion with Mama Earth. So as you breathe in, imagine that you are also breathing the earth up into you. Dropping down deeply into connection with the earth and breathing the earth up into you. And each time you exhale, you're letting the back boundary of your body open up and widen. So each time you exhale, there's a deeper connection that you're going down 15 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet. The numbers don't matter, but it's just going down continuously deeper and deeper and deeper. And the further down that you go in that connection with the earth, the more there's a sense of feeling bolstered by and healed. The depth of connection allows us to be more connected to something much greater than ourselves. Keep dropping in. So we're continuously opening up and letting go. And that the more that we let go, the more we can feel our ability to seep down and down and down and down and down. So it's from this connection to the earth that we're going to begin to move into the next meditation. In this next meditation, we're going to start with just a little bit of breath work that we'll visit a few times throughout the practice, and it's called 12-fold belly breathing. So as you're laying down on your back, see if you can stay in this sense of relationship with the earth, that you don't have to close off the back of the body, that we are always kind of drawing from and releasing into connection with the earth. And this breath work, what we're going to do is take a full to medium inhale into the belly. So rather than breathing into the chest, you're letting your belly really, really soften and relax. You're going to take a big breath in and you're going to feel your belly expand. And on your exhale, there's a sense of pulling your navel back towards your spine, drawing the belly in towards the back body, pressing the back of the pelvis down, and you're working to really press the air out. So you press, back, draw back and out, back and out. And then you're going to take another normal, medium to full inhale. And there's going to start to feel like there's a little bit of a rock to this. So as you exhale, you're pressing the back of your pelvis down, using that connection with the ground to draw the belly back and in. And you might even start to lift up on the pelvic floor. So if you've ever done Kegel exercises, men and women have both had this opportunity. It's the muscles that we use to hold the bladder kind of pull in and up as you draw the belly button in and back. The vigor that you use with this practice is really up to you. For people who may be pregnant or trying to be pregnant, I would recommend being relatively gentle with this, or skipping the real forceful pull of the navel towards the spine. It can be just a very, very gentle, subtle action of focusing on your exhale. So we're going to do 12 of these together. On your inhale, let there be a little bit of a rock. So your tailbone presses down, the lower back lifts as the belly expands. And then exhale, press the back of the pelvis down, draw your navel towards your spine, pull back, pelvic floor lifts. So we're going to do that 10 more times. Just follow the rhythm of your own breath. And again, the vigor is really up to you. We can be relatively vigorous with this, where it starts to feel like there's a lot of action that's happening in the abdominal wall, especially the lower abdominal muscles, working to really empty out. Upper body stays as loose and relaxed as we possibly can make it. And I know that can be a little bit of a challenge, but see if you can keep your shoulders and your jaw out of this action. You're doing this laying down on your back. Notice if your awareness seems to wander off with the brain, and see if you can let your brain drop down into your body so that you're kind of residing down, especially in the space that you're feeling the most sensation in the abdomen. You're residing where the breath is. And if you finish before me, just keep going. Let's take the last one together. So take a medium full inhale into the belly, exhale it all the way out, really pull that navel back towards the spine, and we're gonna hold the breath out of the body, lifting the pelvic floor, tucking your chin down towards your chest, and really dropping your awareness in. So feeling your awareness down into the space of your body, noticing the energetic effects of this 12-fold belly breath. Inhale again, fill up, and exhale all the way out. And then return to that normal breath and see if you can drop down into the experience of your body and notice that there's a sense of aliveness with your energy. That there might be a certain amount of almost electricity, a wavering, a warmth. Just be in that for a few moments. Now, laying on your back, once again, feel that sense of unraveling, allowing the earth beneath you to support. As you bring your focus fully into your lower abdominal region, and this region of the body is an energetic space known in the Taoist practice as the lower dantian or the hara in the practice of Buddhism. We'll call it the yin space today as well. So this is a really potent place in terms of not only our energetic experience, but also in terms of the way in which we can relate our own physical understanding or connection to the world, that it's like where our own mini universe exists. That's where we're going to move to now. So we'll start by bringing the vision or the imagery of kind of this glowing egg shape in the space between your navel and your pubic bone. And this space is about the shape of an egg. We'll say maybe a goose egg or a duck egg. And it's going to be different depending on the person, but you're going to start with imagery. And eventually you'll start to be able to experience the full energetic potency or sensation of this space. But if that's not you tonight, if right now it feels more like it's a little tough to connect with, just imagine or envision this little glowing orb of light. It's about the size of a duck egg or a goose egg between your navel and your pubic bone. And we're not placing it on the surface of the body, it's in the center of the body. So in the same way that we practice that 10-point practice, I want you to imagine that you were breathing in only to this glowing orb space in the center of your belly. So you're breathing in and you're breathing out. And what might help you with this vision to really experience the sensation is that as you breathe in, there's a sense of it's almost being able to be inflated like a balloon. And that as you exhale, you don't have to worry about where the air goes, but it gets just a little bit smaller. So there's an expansion and contraction that happens with your breath. So see if you can feel into the physical experience of that sensation. Dropping into your lower belly. Know that the exact placement also takes a little bit of time. So move it around a little bit. If you're not quite sure exactly where it is, see if you can move your awareness around a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, a little bit up, a little bit down, until you feel the rightness of it, where it feels like the imagery that you're using is matching up with something that brings you into a potent place. And please remember that distraction is inherently a part of this practice, especially when we first begin it. So if you find yourself being constantly drawn away, I know for me, getting into the lower belly feels really challenging. Even after, a couple of years of this practice, I find myself constantly moving back up into the tower of the head where I feel kind of isolated from the rest of the body. If you find yourself experiencing that, rather than feeling frustrated or letting yourself be pulled into a story, see if you can treat the distractions almost as if they are fuel for this practice, that you're continuously dropping those distractions or folding them into the breath in the lower belly. So there's this sense of churning the distractions that arise into the practice itself. And without losing the outer shape of that egg, start to feel that there is a center point in the egg, that there is a spot at the very center of that circle that is almost like a little pinprick of light. And it has a more acute sensation to it. So now the breath is coming specifically into that little pinpoint of light. And yes, the outer egg is still there, but you are experiencing the sensation specifically in that one tiny little center point. Very, very small spot at the center of the circle. You're breathing in and you're breathing out. Again, anytime that you feel drawn away from where exactly that we're focusing on, treat it with a certain amount of reverence or ease or lovingness, especially if you're newer to the practice, that this all takes time. So those distractions are just falling down into that space, that region of the lower belly. They're burning up in the breath, or the light that is being fanned, the heat and the fire that is being fanned by that breath. And then start to imagine the center of that pinprick of light begins to open up. So the outer part of that little pinprick, the part that's actually glowing, begins to expand outward, which creates a little bit of a corona, that there's this glowing orb of light surrounding a center point of emptiness. And really allow yourself to start to look into the space of emptiness in the center. The outer part, the corona, is pressing out into the space of the lower belly very slowly. So right about now, it's about the size of a marble. And anywhere that's being touched by that light, that little crisp, glowing orb around the center point of emptiness, is kind of burning off the refuse. So anything that is not you, anything in your body that you start to experience as tension or trauma, or just the stuff that sticks around, that we hold on to when we don't need it. You're allowing the warmth to kind of edge into that space and to eat it up. And with it being eaten up, in its wake, it leaves this open, empty space at the center, this quantum emptiness that feels almost, as you drop your awareness into the center of it, like the whole of the universe existing within the realm of your lower belly. It's potency and power at your center. Keep letting it press out and into space, so that eventually it's moving to the point of really filling up the whole bowl of your pelvis. You might notice the more that you allow this to be kind of taken up, that the more of your body starts to kind of fall into this space of emptiness, which is kind of a paradox in and of itself, that there's a sense of it being empty, but also full of potential. That you're starting to let the rest of the body drop in, almost like a black hole, that everything in your physical body was being sucked into this open, empty space in the center. And you'll notice other things in your physical arrangement changing the more that you allow yourself to let go into this space. That you might notice the rate of your heartbeat shift. That you might notice the way that your breathing begin to shift. You want to let all of this happen, that you are just continuously opening, and dropping into the center of that space. Know you're also in the driver's seat, because this is outside of what our ego is comfortable with. You know, that when we start to release the ego and we find the higher self, that there is a little discomfort. And so we might be kind of waging a war. If that happens for you, if you find yourself butting up against either the brain or the analytical side of ourselves, kind of trying to stop the process, or even a physical response that we try to close up a little bit, know that you can always stop, that you can always take a moment, that you can rest where you are, that you can breathe and simply observe. And when you feel confident and comfortable, you can start to allow the space to open again. See if you can drop in completely. And I'm going to help with that a little bit. You're going to count down, or I'm going to count you back from 3. And when I say go, I want you to imagine that that go is almost like a fissure. It is a moment in which lightning strikes and that space opens up completely, and you are able to let the entirety of your being drop in to the space, the region of the lower belly, this potent, powerful space of energy that exists within all of us. 3, 2, 1, go. Drop in whole of your being. Let it drop into the region of the lower belly. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to count you down from 3. 3, 2, 1, go. Let your body, let your consciousness soar in that space of kind of primordial knowledge. It's very ancient wisdom of the gut. Very, very slowly. There is no rush, and you don't have to lose the connection. That whatever sensations that you have arrived at don't have to kind of dissipate with the blink of an eye or the snap of a finger. So staying in this place of potency and power as you begin to just very gently rock your head side to side. Maybe drawing your knees in towards your belly and wrapping your hands either around the backs of your thighs or around the outsides of the shins so that you're taking just a little rock with the body. No being on the back. It seems like it could be comfortable forever, but those of us with sacral issues, lower back problems, it might start to get a little uncomfortable. Know that in the course of the practice, yes, being still for as much as possible is really, really encouraged, but that if you are experiencing so much pain or sensation that you can't concentrate on the meditation itself, that you're kind of missing out. So feel free, if you find yourself struggling with feet on the floor, to extend a leg or to switch and extend the other leg or both legs. This is home base, and we return to it as much as possible because it allows us to be very fully and deeply connected with the earth. But I don't want you to be feeling so much at odds with yourself because of strong sensation that you can't focus on what we're looking to focus on. So let's extend the legs out and the arms up and over the head. Take an active reach in both directions. Stretch it out, maybe circling out your ankles. You might even kind of take a little wiggle of your pelvis side to side. And I recommend if you need to move around, get up, walk around your room a little bit. We have another half an hour of meditation, so feel free to move in the ways that make sense to you. I want you to take a little bit of time to do whatever feels good. You can completely wiggle. You might make a little bit of sound. I know for me, sound is always really, really helpful, really, really useful to find release. Again, this isn't about shaking off what you just did. It's just about allowing yourself to find a little bit of movement so that we can come back to being still for the last portion of the practice. You've got about 2 more minutes to do what you'd like. I'm going to take a forward fold if you wanted to join me. So legs extending out in front, and from a seated position, releasing your forehead down towards your shins so that the back of the neck gets lengthened, so that your arms are completely relaxed, letting your jawline relax. Big, deep breath in. Maybe a little sigh out through the mouth. And we're going to come back onto our back and we're going to return to that 12-fold belly breathing. Because we've already done one round of it, you might find that you can apply a little bit more vigor this time as we move through it a second round. This idea of a medium to full inhale into the belly and that extra pull of your belly button back towards your spine as you press the back of your pelvis down. So there's a little bit of a pelvic rock that's happening. As you inhale, you're letting the tip of your tailbone press down into the floor to really kind of spread the front of the body. And then as you exhale, you're pressing the back of the pelvis down and pulling your navel towards your spine. So let's begin that together. Take a big breath in, medium to full, into your belly. So making sure that you're not just breathing into your chest. And then exhale, a little press of the pelvis down. Draw your belly button towards your spine. We're going to do 12 of these all together. The amount that you're really drawing those lower abs in and back is up to you. Whether this action is pressing or forcing stale prana, which is your energy, or your life force out of the region of the lower belly, which is kind of where all of our energy starts or takes root. Remember to find the lift of the pelvic floor at the base of that exhale, a slight pause. Keep dropping your awareness that there's a sense of being curious as you continue to move through the breath work. So you're not just doing the action and allowing that ego mind to kind of keep whirring forward. Instead, you're staying fully present in the experience of your body. Keep going, even if you finish before me. Let's do the final one together. And at the bottom of the exhale, pause, holding the breath out of the body, maybe finding a little bit more of that tightening in and back. Pelvic floor lifting, lower belly drawing back. Let's do that together. And then let your breath come in normally. Drop into your body, especially into the space of that lower belly region. Notice how alive it is. Maybe just being curious if you have any ways that you can describe to yourself this experience. That it's very blank and empty. It's void of thoughts, but at the same time, there's a sense of it being so, so powerful. So staying on your back with your feet on the floor. If you need to walk your feet wide and drop your knees in, feel free to do so. And we're going to spend a little bit more time on the region of the heart center. So see if you can draw your awareness now. We've gone from the lower belly, we're moving up into the chest. And when we talk about heart center, The heart itself, for evolutionary reasons, is not quite at the center point. But when we talk about the heart center, we're kind of moving up just in front of the spine, and it's at the very center of the chest, and it radiates out to where the heart is, but it is a kind of a vast region at the center of the chest. And in the same way that we started our practice with the idea of breathing in through body parts one at a time, I want you to breathe into this energetic space. So you're breathing into your heart center, and it's not on the surface of the body. You're dropping your awareness into the center of your body. And this is a region of the body. This is where we connect with our capacity to love and be loved. And so, of course, we've all experienced through the course of our lives moments of trauma, being rejected, feeling unlovable. So most likely we're going to bump up against some physical experience, some sensation that feels closed off. And rather than shying away from those sensations of hurt or ache or armor, I want you to, as best as you possibly can, seep into that this is an opportunity to explore the landscape of what your body is currently holding on to. And so you're breathing into that heart space, that energetic space that is really the whole region at the center of your chest. And for a moment, we might attach some words to it. So what does it feel like to you? Does it feel like there's heaviness there? So does it feel like your heart is being held captive in a cage or being squeezed by hands? Is it covered in piecemeal? Do your best not to shy away from the discomfort, to just not just meet it, but to drop into it with this idea that we are exploring, that we're beginning to know what it is that we're carrying with us. And then let's get a little bit more specific. Let's start to look at some specific arenas in this area. So we've kind of looked at the front of it. See if you can start to bring your awareness to the sides. I know for me, this is where I hold a lot of tension. So know that the muscles around this area may have gone into protection mode. So as you look to the left and the right of your heart, breathing into these spaces and noticing what it is that you feel. You might notice that the right and the left feel completely different, that one side feels more open or more accessible, or that one side feels more ache, more blocked. Do your best to notice those differences. Feeling into the right and the left of the heart. The heart is a place that's a little more challenging to unwind. So for now, we're just kind of building a map. Really not even a map. Maybe this is the first time that we're actually dropping in to the territory itself so that we start to know our energetic and our physical body. Just be with whatever's there. And when I say be with, it's not up in the brain watching or observing from above. We are fully breathing into these spaces, and that with breath comes awareness. That we're brightening the lights, that we're turning up the volume to whatever physical experience we might be coming into. Let's explore now the space just above and below the heart. So the top and the bottom. The top part is our connection to the throat. And the bottom part is our connection to the region of the belly. So we've already kind of worked into that. And this is the way in which these energetic spaces connect and begin to flow. So bringing your awareness to the top and the bottom of the heart and paying attention to the difference in sensation from top to bottom. That you might feel a little held or stuck right at the top of your collarbones. You might feel a density at the bottom. Again, noticing the difference that the sensations or blockages have a very different outlook or experience on the bottom of the heart from the top of the heart. And this is probably the hardest one to connect to. I want you now to start to see if you can drop your awareness back to the very back of your heart, behind the heart. This is probably the most challenging. So there's a feeling of going deep, back behind. There might be a darkness or a heaviness or a density that you haven't felt with the other sections, and knowing again that this may be the hardest one to connect to, but to the best of your ability, seeing if you can find that depth, dropping down and back, the back regions of your heart. We're moving down into the past here. So this is where we store a lot of past traumas, places where we have been let down, not only in our love life, but in our familial life. Anytime that we've felt someone has dropped the ball in terms of holding up our love. Without attaching too much to the analytical, just letting yourself come into this deep, dense, dark space, the back of the heart. And then light the whole heart up. So breathing into the very center of it. Imagine at the very center of your heart, wherever that armor is, that there's this warm, glowing light at the very center of it. And this is the truest, most purest version of yourself, your highest self. And that as you breathe in, it is glowing and warming from the center of your heart out, that it's almost like a seed. And start to imagine that with each breath, you are planting the seed of 1,000-petaled lotus. 1,000-petaled lotus. So it's this little tiny bud that begins to press up from the center of your heart. So it's moving down into the mud, the muck, the primordial space of the lower belly, deeply connected to where you've come from. And through that little bud is sprouting up at the center of your heart. And it starts as this tiny, compact greenery from the outside, and it's dense and held on the outside. But with each breath, each time that you inhale, as the body relaxes down into the support of the earth beneath you, it starts to open. That 1,000-petaled lotus begins to open. Ooh, it's going to be petal by petal. So see if you can find that image. And so the outer parts of your heart, spots on the right and the left, are the greenery on the outside. And it takes an intense amount of your awareness and concentration and breath. But you're starting to feel a sense of spreading and opening. And that the heaviness and the armor that you may have experienced around your heart in our previous exploration is no match for the softness, the complete aliveness of this expanding 1,000-petaled lotus that is petal by petal beginning to expand, open and open. Anytime that you lose the imagery, imagine folding that distraction, the thing that pulled you away. You can imagine it being like a little eyedropper of water or sunlight. That is, it is our distractions or our pulling away from the experience that becomes fuel or food for the opening. So many tiny little petals on the outside beginning to unfurl so that we start to come in from those green, small, tiny, tiny little things on the outside into bigger, softer, whiter petals in the center, vibrant, not just white, but pulsing with vibration and light and energy. In fast motion, feeling your 1,000-petaled lotus continuing to open and open. And that you might start to feel this sense of vibration, this shaking, that all of the cells that make up the space of the heart are vibrating at their highest frequency, that somebody polished them off so they are so keen to receive. Keep letting it open, petal by petal. Keep allowing your awareness to open that lotus. See if you can resist the urge to close off your vibrancy, because it can be really, really intense. If you need a moment to stop and stay, feel free to stop, to hold. But don't close off. And then keep allowing yourself to unfurl into your entirety. Starting to notice that the center of the lotus, as we get closer and closer to the center, that those petals grow even broader and brighter, and that there's a warmth and a heat, maybe even a sense that feels close to a burning, that you are so open and awake from the center of your heart that that vibrancy burns in connection. Allow it to open up completely. whole lotus opens up. All of the petals are now light. And they aren't just light, they are energy. They are vibrating and quivering. Warmth and heat and radiancy. So open. So able to both give and to receive all of the love that is available in this world, in this life. So we're going to end this meditation from a seated position. See if you can still stay really, really awake and alive to the center of your heart. And you're going to come up to a seat and take as much time as you need. You might grab a blanket to sit on or a pillow to sit on, cross-legged or kneeling, whatever your comfortable meditation position is, bringing your hands to rest somewhere that you're making a choice. So either the lap or the tops of the thighs, finding the alignment of the spine so that your shoulders are stacked directly over top of your hips and that there's an easeful rise through the crown of your head, that you're not forcing an erect spine, but that from your alignment, there's an awakeness and aliveness that keeps you upright. Drop your awareness down into the region of the belly where we started. So feeling into that primordial space, maybe feeling a sense of silvery or liquidness to that energy. Feeling a depth, a darkness. This practice of yoga or meditation is all about balance of dark and light, that they exist within each of us. So we feel these roots down into this dark, rich space, this grounded space. We're going to imagine what's called the central channel. You can imagine it as maybe like an inch in diameter cylinder just in front of your spine. So it's kind of towards the back of the body and like a really, really thick straw or like an oil rig. From this silvery, warm, very dark space of the belly, we're feeling all of that potent energy and we're starting to breathe it up the central channel, this kind of 1 inch, 4 inch in diameter cylinder, tube. And it's going to go up gradually. So with each breath from the base of your belly, it's moving up in front of the spine. So maybe starting by moving halfway up the abdomen. With each exhale, relaxing and softening, completely opening. Breathing up to the solar plexus. And exhaling back down into connection with the earth, never losing that. From the region of your yin space, your lower dantian, breathing now up into the chest, the heart space, feeling all of the radiant energy that you've awakened, pulsing out like a sun within your own body. Breathing up into the throat. Breathing up into the space between your brows. Breathing all the way up to the dome of your head. And now imagine all of that energy that you're drawing up from your own center, from your own space, spilling out through the top of the head and kind of creating an arch, a mushroom around the rest of your body, dropping back down into the earth so that it becomes this continuous cycling of energy. Drawing it back through your pelvic floor, up into your lower belly. Solar plexus, heart space, throat space, third eye center, the crown chakra, circling all around the body as if it was bathing you in a warm, glowing light. Just a few more times with this image on your own. Let's just gently place the hands on the physical body, a hand to the belly and a hand to the chest, the two energetic spaces that we've been doing our spring cleaning in this evening. Breathe into your home, your abode. And breathe out through your mouth. Bring your hands together and we'll end with the sound of Om. So if you're not comfortable making the sound out loud, feel free to just repeat it in your mind. Om is a sound that represents our infinite connection, that we are and will always exist in some way, shape, or form, continuously recycled. Take a big breath in. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I know we don't get to be together, but I feel you all, and it is a blessing to get to share this practice with you. I hope we can do it in person soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.